The players right now. As we get into our first match, let's have a huge round of applause for both teams, and we throw across to our casters, Jim and Jake. There you go.
Thank you very much, Luke, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Hysterix, joined by the lovely Jim Nesso in the best shirt or worst shirt, I guess, of this week until we get to the next week.
It really has divided the audience, though.
Every single week, you pick up a shirt that, for some reason, is sold in a shop.
No, this one I made myself.
You probably got that from Melbourne, to be quite honest, and that's why none of the crowd would go for Melbourne, because none of the crowd are going to go for that shirt.
I had this shirt before it was cool.
Before it was cool. Yeah. 20 years ago.
That's right now, by the way. It's never been cool.
Oh, okay, right. So we're still waiting for that one. However, with Sydney Chiefs, they have the support of the crowd, and the Chiefs have been unstoppable so far.
They have been, and they've looked in good form so far.
Yeah.
From what we've seen of the two players that have returned, we know that Drip A boosts this roster just exponentially.
All right, let's use a different word for that. Drip A lifts them up a little bit, yeah. So that has an ambiguous meaning for some people out there, but let's jump into the game anyway. Sydney Chiefs, Melbourne Avant for the first series today of the Elite Series. 2 weeks until those semis, and we want to see if the Chiefs can keep up the pace.
And this being the first game of that best of 5, they really need to work each other out. Obviously, I think you were saying in the pre-game, Jake, traditionally when Chiefs have returned from overseas, they haven't always been at their best. So there might be a potential here for Avant to catch them napping in the early stages.
Well, we're trying to pick at straws, but for the Chiefs, this is true. It's been quite stale in the midfield so far for Melbourne Avant. Let's say he has been working on some things, but they need to maintain possession. Sammy for the ball, but goes over the top. And Drip A for Zen, gets the reach, is going to hit the backboard. Plitz is in position. Jake doesn't get a clear. Not using the momentum of that ball. Good pass, and Plitz goes wide. Now still in front of that goal square. Torsos with the clear.
Just going to keep that ball in the right areas here. It's on Avant to just maintain that pressure, as Chiefs are so good at defending that backboard, and they make it look so easy. They deal with all the pressure so far. Avant, though, it's good that they're starting to string some passes together and get themselves moving on in this piece.
But they have to be careful. That was a miss there again. Then we'll get the clear, but it's still down this side of the field for Sammy. Now stolen away by Jake. Backboard, pressure built. As for Drip A, he'll come in. Jake's in position. We talked about this in the Alienware moment there before. Torsos goes for the shot. Jake in position, sets it back, but Drip A's come up as well. This might be able to relieve some pressure as we get a breakaway from Melbourne Avant. It's good to see them that they're able to get on this attack.
That ball just centered in field. No one waiting for it. Good anticipation, though, from Chiefs to let that one go. But this is a chance here that they're potentially going to take. It does bounce a few times before it eventually goes away, but just a few nervous moments there for Avant as they start to string these passes in midfield. But Chiefs already, they haven't looked at their best just yet, but there's a shot on goal.
What a steal! A pinch comes through! Melbourne Avant with the first goal, and that has just caught Chiefs by surprise.
Completely caught them napping. As we said, they aren't looking their best thus far, and we know that they have so many different gears they can go through, but that one completely caught Chiefs off guard.
First goal for Melbourne Avant. The work that's gone in over the week. Has it been enough? Game on would be a cracker of a start for Melbourne Avant. The first goal there, but 3 minutes remaining. Now for Plitz, the pass is there, it's light. Torsos and Drip A hanging in defense. Jake will complete the play with the second, now the third for Drip A. Back over to Sammy. With less than 3 minutes remaining, Drip A sets the play up near the backboard. Jake ready to dunk down. Torsos comes in, but not really going to find the angle from this. And Melbourne Avant able to get back down the field, but stolen away again. The passing play goes wide perfectly to Torsos. Hits that side wall. Drip A now dribbling, but out of boost. And for Zen, he'll just give it back over to Jake. It's an opportunity for Torsos. Great pass back at the angle. So perfect there from the Chiefs.
We knew it was only a matter of time before they started to link up those pieces perfectly. They managed to do that with this play here. Jake and Torsos, they were a ripper pair last week. Ripper pair, and they've done it again here to bring things back to one apiece. And Avant, back to the drawing board for them. As you said, they've been preparing with those replays, and they've looked good so far, but give Chiefs an inch, they will take a mile because they're a world-class side.
But I think, honestly, Melbourne Avant, they've got a lot of breathing room here, and once again, they're on the attack, and against the Chiefs, it's only one-sided, but they've pushed everyone up into the attack, and now it's a slow rush back, and the pass forward to Drip A will only be met with Sammy. Torsos keeps it down again and slowing down the play. That's what the Chiefs like to do. Gives them plenty of time. 2 minutes remaining, still one apiece.
Just trying to hold that ball up in the midfield. And Chiefs, for the moment, just let Avant know that they're there.
Yes.
Great passing play once again. Torsos is reading it quite well. And he's looked great these past 2 weeks. I mean, in this game already, he's had such an impact for them. And My goodness.
They make it look so easy, though.
I know, it's effortless.
Sydney Chiefs, they take the lead. Melbourne Avant may have had something to say at the start of this game, but the Chiefs are just back online. But Drippe off this kickoff, this is not going to go well as the dunk down off the backboard, recovered by Torsos. And the third comes so much quicker after the second.
Yeah, they've just looked to maintain that pressure. Drippe, great pass into that backboard, unanswered. They looked to try and defend it, but they couldn't get there. Avant actually missed it, cost them. Torsos is always waiting for that.
The Gimneso, it's just taken off. And for the Chiefs, Yummy call the 3-0. Rightly so, the Chiefs are, without a doubt, being called the best team in this competition, the best team in OCE. That might have been a bit of a freebie. Can it be recovered for all the Sydney Chiefs? This gives time for Melbourne Avant to clear the ball, but Jake just steals it away. Takes away their boost, and Torsos gets ample room again. We said they made it look too easy, and there you go. More examples.
Avant just looking a little bit shaky here in the defence. They're not clearing their lines properly. They're not pushing that ball around. And as we saw from in the Play Like a Pro segment, Chiefs are really confident in passing it out from the back. That's not happening for Avant, so they need to get that going for them to be able to be competitive in this matchup, because so far the traffic has really turned against them.
Well, it was incredible to see Melbourne Avant come out of the gates rolling like that in game one. So keeping up that momentum has been a little bit difficult. Drippe's just setting up the ball again. In a minute 20, that angled perfectly, but Sammy this time will save it. Torsos back in. This is what happens. It's exactly what happens when you give room and you go up for the ball to challenge the Chiefs.
This interception, though.
Yeah.
It's not up for it quick enough. Torsos just reading that so well.
He can't pass in front of the net when the Chiefs are there. Torsos, he'll win those challenges. He'll take away your pass. And the example's plain to see. 5-1. The Chiefs just now walking over game one. And Drippe hasn't really been a main standout here. It's been back to Torsos and Jake for the passing plays. Jake, another touch. This one goes wide.
And it was interesting because Chiefs are really struggling to put some passes together in the early stages of this game. That being said, though, the floodgates open and all of a sudden they piled on 5 goals.
Jake almost bringing the style points to that one. Torsos passing again. Jake over the top of one defender, but Plitz will easily be able to clear this. For Melbourne Avant, they have run out of time. You have to see an exceptional amount of fast plays to get those 4 goals, but you won't. So game one, it's an interesting start from Melbourne Avant. So I want to see how this progresses, Nesso.
Well, I mean, they've proved to themselves they can pass these, put these passes together and get themselves an opening, get a goal or 2. If they get another goal here in this last 20 seconds, it's just a confidence boost going into match number 2, because match number 1 for them was quite rough in the latter stages because Torsos just running amok, linking up really well with Jake. Drippe's also played his part, but he's a little bit slower to get into things. That being said, though, the recipe is there for Chiefs and they're cooking.
Saw the Plitz-Zen combination there before, making an attempt for that second goal, but they won't find it. Melbourne Avant, they will take the loss there, but Sydney Chiefs off to game 1 strong.
Super strong there, and I mean, that was just a great passing demonstration. Jake, Torsos, they've looked fantastic.
Always.
There's not a lot to criticise there from the Chiefs, other than the fact that they were slow starters. For Avant, in terms of what they were offering, it was basically a case of them crumbling a little bit once that pressure started to be applied by the Chiefs. Once they started to get going, the game plan looked to be just tested a little bit.
A little bit, but I want to highlight there the first 2 minutes of that game, Melbourne Avant set the pace. They got more than 60% of that possession to start things off, and the Chiefs warming up's a bit of a meme in game 1. But in Rocket League, I think, I say it every week, game 1 is so important. It sets the tone for the series, but it also shows the weaknesses and the flaws that can be exploited. And for the Chiefs, I see that. Melbourne Avant, they can actually bring this series forward. They just have to play like the first 2 minutes of that game.
Well, I mean, you look at the score sheet, and you basically see 9 shots for Chiefs in the course of that match. 9 shots, you're going to get goals. And they were converting them quite well, actually. So in that regard, the creation was there. From Avant, there was only 3 shots to them, so...
But still, 3 is better than none.
That's better than none.
Better than none.
We've seen a lot of teams actually completely shut out by Chiefs past, and they're going forward, they're creating, they're putting those shots on goal, they're taking some positives out of this. Now, they need to focus themselves on the second matchup, because quite quickly, this could actually turn really rough for them if they don't get off to a good start here in game 2.
It's also so hard to keep up with the Chiefs as well. Once they get that tempo advantage, it's something Yummy doesn't like me saying. I'm going to say it anyway. The Chiefs, they find that speed, power comes with it, And every single time you see Torsos score a goal, you know exactly why Chiefs are the best team in OCE.
Well, I mean, just looking at some of those replays there, a lot of those goals were interceptions that were reading the passing play better than Avant were. And Avant were the ones stringing the passes together. So you can tell that Chiefs are just really settling back into life at home. Life on the Gfinity Elite Series stage as well is looking quite comfortable for them. The question is, can Avant rally now? Can Avant, I guess, put that game plan into action? You said they've been preparing well. They've said themselves that they've been preparing.
It definitely showed in that first game. So I see the growth from Avant. That's what it's about, the growth here in the Gfinity Elite Series. Avant have showcased for a team that back were kind of ranked towards that 7th and 8th position in OCE, putting up a good fight against the Chiefs. So we moved to game number 2. The Chiefs have just been stomping their opposition internationally and in OCE. Now they go up against Avant in game 2 with a 1-game lead.
I'm just looking to put those passes together. I think that was key. The fact that they need to make sure that they're first to the passes from their own teammates and not let them be intercepted by players from Chiefs is going to go a long way towards making sure that they can get themselves back into this game. And some backboard plays already. Potential here for that to be put away, but it couldn't be reached, unfortunately.
A couple of bumps there from Zen as well in goal, but unfortunately 2 members in the defense and a big pinch there from Torsos to send the ball flying for another clear. Actually sets it up on the backboard, and not often that you see the Chiefs on the defense, but here they are again in front of the net. Jake will take command of the ball, and as it bounces back off the wall, there's the shot for Blitz, goes high. Great defense from Sydney Chiefs off the backboard. Yeah,
Avant will definitely be looking to the experience of Blitz to really open up this match for them. He's been around a while now and playing at that top level, and he's certainly someone they're going to be looking to, but just this pressure here from the Chiefs.
1, 2, and 3. Ladies and gentlemen, that is how it's done.
And that backboard play is simply superb. This pass here from Drippe, just putting it high for Torsos. 1, 2, 3, as you said, and they made it look as easy as can be.
It's quick, short, sharp. By the time you react to the ball, it's already in the back of the net. 1-0 for the Chiefs. The start they want for game 2.
And these guys have been playing together for the better part of 2 years as well. So
they are the longest standing roster in the world of Rocket League.
And that is certainly showcased in every passing play that they make. Everything, they've done it all before. They've run every play, they've run every drill. Rotations are on point. They know how to work with one another, and this is just showcased right now.
And again, look at that bump in net from Drippe. The defender had no chance to get out, and Zen was there. Drippe drops down from the ball, moves Zen out of the way, and Jake gets freedom for the second goal.
That's the thing too, he was looking for that next phase of play after his pass, and that was just to go through and bump the goalkeeper off the line. And that makes defence really difficult when you don't have a goalkeeper that can get to the ball. And again, Chiefs just putting a lot of pressure on the youngsters from Avant. We said that players like Zen, he's looked better and better each week in this league, and you learn a lot from losses. I'll tell you what. Jake.
Once they get one, they get many, Gymnasto. It does not stop from the Chiefs. And even Jake, I don't think he had any boost left. Flips in the net.
Didn't need any boost in that instance. No. He knew what he was doing.
Oh, and they all know what they're doing, but some more so than others, I would say.
They are definitely making it look quite easy here at the moment, the Chiefs. And this is where Avant just need to stabilise, need to make sure that they put in a couple minutes of good Rocket League here. They produced the goods in the first game. They actually produced some shots on goal. We're getting the ball into the right areas, getting themselves up. They got a goal, they got some confidence, but it hasn't shown here in game number 2. They've been completely shut out thus far.
Finally starting to get the ball down, but that touch from Zen was crucial. Now Torsos winning it over Blitz will enable Chiefs to push to the attack. Off that backboard once again, Drippe goes up for the ball, but Torsos, the third member, Blitz trying to get it over the top of him. Again, set up Zen for the solo play. He's lost the ball again over the top, and Melbourne Avant, they're back on the defense. These touches crucial, means that they can get shots like this and put the pressure on.
And this is what Avant need to deal with, that pressure on the backboard. This is the difference between the two teams as well. When a ball goes to the backboard, Chiefs always look like they've got it under control. They've always got that backboard defense on point. Avant at times has looked a little bit shaky, but that's because the passes from Chiefs are just so pinpoint in their precision that they're getting past the defense quite easily.
Those defensive counterattacks have come out a couple of times already in this game too. With 2 minutes left remaining in front of the net, they find themselves against Zen. The touch, the dribble, it goes up. Now for Zen, can he continue the pace forward? A good block there by Drippe. Melbourne Avant, they're still ready for the play, still committing forward. Sammy will be the last one to punch it down, but Jake just reads it, blocks it, and Zen will have to get another touch on the ball, but does not. And so Sammy loses it over in Melbourne Avant. 1 minute 40 remaining, 3 goals. Again, another big ask in game 2.
It is a big ask because they're only just starting to gain some momentum now, only just starting to create some attacking plays.
That was the play there, Jim Nesso. That was the opportunity. The pass back is very risky against the Chiefs and blocked once again. Torsos keeps it down this side of the field. Melbourne Avant, they're starting to get more of that breathing room, but unable to do anything with the ball as the third and final member isn't able to commit to the play.
This is a really difficult ask for Avant because they've been trying to get those passing plays together.
Once again, Jake's opened up 4-0. Running away with game 2 as well. And Jim Nesso, he said it himself. I mean, the dodge away, I'm not sure if Torsos actually commit, but Plitz is like, you're not bumping me. It's probably going to go high anyway. They went low. So game 2, they're walking away with it again. I think they might be.
They're playing it so well right now, the Chiefs. Quite a comfortable lead here. Avant, again, they started to build themselves in, and just when they were looking to build some of their own momentum, string some plays together, a bit more confident on the ball, they do get shut out here. And I think that's been the real difference between the two teams, is the fact that Avant, when they've started to build confidence, Chiefs have just been able to shatter that confidence by intercepting those passing plays. We saw game 1, a lot of pounces on intercepts here, and Drippe didn't quite put that one away.
Nor could Torsos. But Sydney Chiefs, you can see why they're always first to the ball. Melbourne Avant, again, we ask ourselves, can the reverse sweep be done? And against the Chiefs, a lot of people would be shaking their heads, but there has been some limelight for Melbourne Avant. There's been some times where the attackers look strong. They just haven't been able to secure that goal.
Chiefs have looked good on the ball and off the ball as well.
Yep.
It's little things they're doing. It's the bumps. It's the stealing of the boost. It's making sure that Avant don't have anything in the tank when it comes time to defend. And they're just slowly constricting their opposition here. And Avant, they're just having a bit of difficulty managing that. And it really shows too in those attacking plays. And Chiefs, this is why they've got a massive target on their back. They're the #1 team by far, and they've looked at from start to finish.
You can see why. Game 2, this ball hit the ground. I think Jake is already done unless he wants to dribble it the whole field. Even Zed, just not letting it drop. We'll have, 30 seconds of 0 seconds. Yeah, let's just keep it up, gents. I think for Melbourne Avant, you've just said, hey, what do you want?
Oh, no.
This is why you don't keep the ball up, Melbourne Avant. The 5th goal comes through, and Drippe, welcome home. Melbourne Avant, we should have dropped the ball. 5-0, game 2. And that's all she wrote.
That was a very, very rough outing for Avant.
Well,
start to finish.
I always say, look, if it's 4-0, don't make it 5-0.
And again,
5-0, don't make it 6-0.
Zen was the only real outlet for Chiefs there. For Avant there. 3 shots, and Chiefs were just really piling on the pressure there. Everybody was getting the opportunity in front of goal. Again, Drippe, he's actually settled into this second match a lot more. 6 shots on goal, 3 shots for Torsos and Jake as well. So the pressure's coming from all over the shop as well. It's not one single outlet. Avant, you need players like Plitz to really get into things, because for me, when Avant are playing well, Plitz is the measuring stick for that.
I think as well, Zen hasn't been touching the ball as much. It's been passes and usually openings for Avant. Zen goes to these individual plays. And I think the one team that it could work against is the Chiefs. We saw in that first goal, Melbourne Avant caught the Chiefs completely off guard. That's what I want to see again. But game 3 is your last chance, and just so many classic goals from the Chiefs. When you don't think they're going to score, they do it anyway.
They're looking dangerous from all over the field. I think that's the real measure of Chiefs, is the fact that that international experience brings them a range of different play styles as well. So when you start to think you're adapting to the Chiefs, they'll change gears completely.
Well, unfortunately for Melbourne Avant, they are caught off guard once again. They're onto the 3-0 potential. Yeah, they dropped the guard. Melbourne have one more chance. Reverse sweep or another 3-0. We've had a lot of 3-0 so far.
That's a lot of pressure to put on a young team as well. Reverse sweep against a team that's come off a really successful World Championship campaign. Big ask.
Hard to beat, however, we are going to throw to a short break. When we return, let's see if Game 3 spiced up just that little bit.
perfectly. They managed to do that with this play here. Jake and Torsos, they were a rip player last. Chiefs for the moment. Just let Avant know that they're there. So that backboard unanswered. They looked to try and defend it, but they couldn't get there. Avant actually missed it.
Welcome back to the Gfinity Elite Series Rocket League edition, live here at the Esports Arena in Sydney. We're on One and Twitch right now. We're about to head into Game 3. Chiefs right now absolutely dominating Avant Gaming. Is there any chance they can come back in this final game, Dave?
It seems so difficult with Chiefs playing the way they are. They've got 19 shots to Avant 7. Avant got 1 goal right at the very start, but honestly it took 3 mistakes out from the Chiefs players to do that. And we already saw a record-breaking game. Torsos in the first game, 5 goals, a record for this series, off 5 shots, so 100% shooting accuracy, and he's got 6 so far, so he's increasing his already #1 spot for goals per game.
So you're looking like it's definitely going to be Avant win.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely.
No, not. Look, I'd like to see him come back. We'll find out. We're heading to the last game. Over to you, Jake and Jim. Let's get into it.
Thanks very much, Lukey. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 3. Is it going to be a 3-0, Jim Nesso?
Well, I mean, Luke's already called it the last game, so I think everybody's on track.
Yeah, just realised, actually. So,
and, I mean, we like an underdog story, but Avant need to really step up here, and that is going to be a tough ask for them. Let's be realistic in the sense that there's been a lot more creation going forward for the Chiefs. Their shots, 19 in total. That's ridiculous.
It's a fair amount in...
to 7. There's a big deficit there.
In 2 games? Yeah, it's a fair, decent amount. I think for the Chiefs, look, they are in fine form. They've just come back off their international wins. And now for Avant, nail in the coffin is going to happen for Melbourne Avant. I heard in the break, someone's like, oh yeah, it'll be a 3-2 to Melbourne Avant. And is that optimistic or not? Let's find out as we jump into game 3.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. But Avant need to believe in themselves firstly. And there's certainly crowd support for them here too. So... all the recipe is there. All the ingredients,
yeah, it is.
There. It's up to them to actually create the recipe now.
Already the first shot comes out of the Sydney Chiefs. On the defensive, they just get a massive clear and it puts Plitz in a dangerous position as Torsos winning out these challenges every time. Sets it up for Jake. A good touch there by Zen. Drops it to Plitz and maybe now for Melbourne Avant as Drippe goes past that ball, but Torsos there to recover. Only 30 seconds to pass, but again, Chiefs get that first shot. They show us what they're made of. And for Jake, that drop down still worked out. Plitz didn't get the most optimistic touch. And now back from Jake over to Torsos. Drippe the last one. They just can't get it through. They're not committing. They're staying on the defense. And Melbourne Avant not getting first to the ball.
That is certainly the case. I mean, Chiefs even are making 50-50 balls. Look like they're 60-40 in their favour.
Hang on.
Ooh, the outlets.
But that's the moment. That's what we need to see from Melbourne Avant in the potential last game. The dribble again, it's just been given back over to Torsos. Jake intercepts away from Plitz. Now for Sammy, can the pinch do any work? The demo does, but Torsos the last defender. Jake cleans it back in time. So maybe not the last, but these touches from Chiefs still working out well.
You just need to make sure that they get rid of that ball now. And good backboard defence is certainly going to be able to do that. Some nice link-up play here.
Well, that's going in. Jake, what a save there. Angles it away. Sammy brings it back forward, but Torsos going to use the pace on the ball to clear it away. Jake with a light touch, and that's all they need for Drippe to angle it towards Torsos. No goal just yet. This is what's keeping Melbourne Avant alive. Sammy for the dribble. They've left it up to individual play, which has been stolen away.
Very difficult too when you've got no boost left in the tank to try and dribble it up.
Plitz just can't get there. I'm not sure he had any boost.
Yep.
Drippe just drops it in. I mean, look at this again.
And, I mean, Avant can barely get off their own line before the pressure's being reapplied to them. And if they're out of boost, like that makes saving the ball really difficult.
I want to point out as well, I think that was Drippe. He's got the Jurassic Park goal there. That is one of the best. I'm waiting to get in the van. What a pass. Never mind. You don't need to go to Jurassic Park. Because right here, the park belongs to Sydney Chiefs. They've parked themselves in front of the net. And they've decided second goal is what they're going to take.
And I tell you what, life might find a way, but certainly it's Sydney Chiefs finding every way here in this particular matchup. They look the goods. And Avant, they've put some good Rocket League together, but it's just not enough. It's just not enough at the moment. Well, they're capable of better.
There's Zen, the light touch. You're expecting Plitz to come through with a shot. Sammy hanging back, and Drippe with a light clear will just go back to Sammy, but Zen goes in for the ball as well. He blocks his teammate. And the Sydney Chiefs just going to pass directly down the field. Torsos again, doesn't have any boost, but Drippay comes back in. Sammy was in the right place at the right time. But for the Chiefs, they'll just bring it back down. Jake doesn't need any boost here. He's given enough time for the Chiefs to recover and bring it back down. Drippay there off the backboard. Blitz comes in for the light touch to take it away from Torsos.
And you just know that if Jake's got any, Torsos has got any boost left in the tank, that he's making that double touch. He's making it work as well. And again, just Chiefs angling that ball away nicely. That passing play from the back, looking so confident, short and long passing. Crossfield, infield.
It is only a 2-goal lead though, and this is an opportunity once again for Melbourne Avant. Sammy's there, 3 members commit for the attack, but there's only 2 touching the ball. Now for Torsos, it's happening again, ladies and gentlemen. He's right where he needs to be. Drippay's here as well. The last one, Jake will get blocked out by Zen, but Torsos has already rotated back, and Melbourne Avant are going to struggle to get the clear.
And how quickly they turn that that defense into attack from Chiefs. They look so fluid in the way that they play. They make it all so easy. And this is the mark of a world-class side in the sense that their passing play from start to finish. 1, 2, 3.
It sure is, Gifnesso. It sure is. We'll come close again. But those bumps in net, the Chiefs are rascals. You know exactly why. For Jake on the defense, won't be too hard. Drippay again with the clear, but it's going to be interrupted. Sammy the touchdown, but Zen just can't get to the ball.
Committing a lot of numbers forward too here, Ivan. They need to be careful. They're going to try and push forward to find their first goal, but that is risky because you can concede your third.
But at the moment you have to. You're 2-0 down. There's a minute remaining. Defense was slow back there from the Chiefs, and this will actually open things up for Melbourne Avant. But Zen again not to the ball, and Torsos just sets it up. There it is for Jake. Dunk down. And you said exactly what came into fruition.
It is always about risking it for the biscuit, and Avant needed that first goal of theirs just to bring things back to 2-1. 2-0 is a really dangerous lead in Rocket League because it can be overturned so quickly and things can really swing against you. But Avant just couldn't quite piece it together, and now they find themselves down 3-0. It is a big ask to find 3 goals in 50 seconds or less.
Look, it might be more than that at this stage, Jim. Now, so 45 seconds. Melbourne Avant, they've put on a good showing, and I'm going to say I see the growth. Zen needs to connect with that ball. And unfortunate for Melbourne Avant because we see these passing plays, we see opportunities where other teams may fail, but the Chiefs' defense is always on par. And 1 member's all it takes. Blitz now up to the ball and opening. There it is. Finally, Melbourne Avant, they connect with the ball. 25 seconds, 2 goals. If we see the game going like that, yes, it's a definite possibility. But we have to see connections, 1, 2, and 3 once again.
And that is far more positive Rocket League from Avant. I like the way that they were going forward right to the death of this game. They're going to keep attacking, and there's a little glimmer of hope for them if they can find another good passing.
But you need 10 seconds to set it up. Now 15 on the board.
This is better.
There it is. It connects. Finally, Melbourne Avant. The switch is on.
Oh, and they flicked that switch. Let me tell you, they've gone from a positive, or I guess a very troubled team in terms of what they were dealing with from Chiefs, but now they're going forward. It's a little bit more positive. The passing plays there, 13 seconds. Can they tie it up?
Well, it was off the back of a kickoff. Again, can Sammy get through? 10 seconds remaining, and the Chiefs are holding out with that clear. That might have been all. The demo on Zen as well. They're going to have to get at the length of the field, but they let it drop. A good attempt at the end by Melbourne Avant, but the Sydney Chiefs, another 3-0.
Yeah, for a moment they made us sweat a little bit, thinking that we might have had an overtime.
Not just that, that play, Melbourne Avant, couple of kickoff goals, and it was a moment of excitement for Melbourne Avant, but it was a little bit unfortunate by the end.
I mean, looking at that as well, that was a far more positive game from Avant.
Yep.
See there that they've created a lot of shots. They've actually created 10 shots in total, whereas in the previous games, they'd actually been well behind Chiefs. Chiefs only had 5 shots.
Sorry to keep you up. Torsos is just like, yeah, you know, just another game. And after that, you know, you'd have to say that the Chiefs, of course, feeling comfortable as always. Jake said in the interview before, no, I don't get nervous, you know, after coming from the world champs. Now, for them, might just all be child's play. The Chiefs, are they defeatable? Can they be stopped is the new question.
Well, I mean, Avant actually had a lot of positive signs there towards the end of that third game.
Yeah.
In terms of the statistics there, and I'm sure Yummy will talk around a little
Bit
bit
of
more.
stats, yeah.
Yeah. But in game 3, they were actually putting more shots on goal than they had in all the previous games. They were, I think they put in 10 shots as opposed to Chiefs 5.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Chiefs were just far more clinical in front of goal. Their conversion rate was much higher. But for Avant, there's some positives there.
There are, but a couple of missed touches shoring those up from Melbourne Avant. And then you have a close series. Then you have a close game 3 at the very least. So I like that Melbourne Avant started playing with fire, started beating Chiefs to the ball, which can be very hard to do. But again, mistakes from both sides. We're not going to pull them up on that. We're going to look at the positives and what Melbourne Avant were able to achieve in that very last moment.
And I think it's important for Avant too to walk away from this and go, okay, we've learned a lot in that game, because in any, I guess, any sport, you learn a lot from your losses. There's a lot of things to review, a lot of mistakes to look at, and also a lot of review that needs to go into these sorts of matches. And for Avant, there's a lot of positives to be taken as well.
There are, but there was a lot of review that went into this, and I can see the growth. I can see the potential of a team like Melbourne Avant. They've been around for a while. Like Zen is, top class OCE streamer. Almost beats out CJ to rival someone else's opinion. But for Melbourne Avant, Plitz, Sammy's a new-ish player coming to the scene. He joined this team earlier in the year, and I think he's put on a bit of a showing. So the potential's growing, and I'd like to see if they can make their way towards the semis, towards the finals, and continue this potential performance.
That's right. It's all experience for them as well. I mean, Chiefs have walked this path many, many times in many different competitions as well. That's why they're so cool, calm, and composed in these sort of situations.
Yeah.
And that's the experience that you gain from events like this. And this is Avant. This is their learning phase. This is what they're going through. And who knows, maybe in a few weeks' time, they'll have a similar level of confidence.
You say
level of experience, but confidence.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about that experience. With Melbourne Avant, you don't have the same experience where you go to the World Championship 3 times in a row. The Chiefs have gone to Worlds. And you look at that experience, and each and every time they come back, they're better and better. For Melbourne Avant, they don't have that same opportunity. So you can see the growth and the disparity between the teams. But for Melbourne Avant, now it's about playing like that, playing aggressive, using Zen. I want to bring you back to something as well. All 3 of the Chiefs were here today, Jim Desso. And that's what we saw. It's scary.
They all turned up too. I think that's the scary part as well, in the sense that each of them contributed in different parts of each game. There wasn't anyone performing particularly under par from Chiefs' perspective. Even Drippe, that first game, he was a little bit slow to get into things, but once he found his rhythm, he was super deadly.
It was. The Chiefs all together again for another 3-0. However, we are going to throw to Luke after the end of that game.
Normally expect Drippe to hit those.
A solid win there from the Chiefs, and right now Johnny is at the desk. We have the captain himself. Guys, give it up for Jake. Nice work, dude. You got to feel good after that, man. That was just a solid performance from you guys, hey?
Yeah, no, that was just day at the office.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. You were just going through the motions. So, was there? I mean, I guess there was no point in that game where you thought it was away from you, yeah?
Game 3.
Yeah, well, the whole match rather. Like you were in control the whole time, pretty much.
Oh yeah, no, we were feeling really confident after game 1. We were like, yeah, here to win.
And I want to know what you were thinking about Avant and how they were playing, because it really felt that they weren't able to keep up with your pace.
They were just missing a lot. I mean, we were just kind of like, oh, they're just missing a lot. Just go and we'll score.
It's a bit rude, isn't it?
It is what it is.
No, they were missing a few of the touches for sure.
What about right at the end? Did it surprise you when they came back in the dying seconds?
Well, yeah, like 2 goals that quickly, we're like, oh, whoops. But,
You actually heard Zen as well. Yeah, 13 seconds, lads, right at the end. He was keen as a bean.
All right, well, let's get into some analysis right now. Let's talk about where that match was won and lost.
So game number 1, you actually see the first goal coming out from Melbourne Avant right at the start. I think there were 3 misses coming out from Chiefs. I'm putting you under the bus here.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of Torsos who started that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was expecting Torsi to hit it, but I mean, I was being stupid on the wall.
You were there on the backboard, but honestly, like that kind of happens at the start of games. And I would have to talk about Torsos in that one. He recovered really well from that. He didn't let that get to him, and I think that's a real growth as an individual for him.
Yeah, Tor's has really been showing up at LAN lately. He's like almost better than he's online recently at LAN. It's awesome.
That's good, and you see just Chiefs continually barraging the net, and there was a lot of open nets here from Avant. Do you think that they were trying to be too aggressive?
I'm not sure what was happening with them. Maybe they were trying too hard or just like thinking we were like being quicker than we were. They were just missing a lot and giving us easy opportunities.
Yeah, you guys had the passes over the top. You were beating them to this ball in this play that we just had. It was a three-man pass play all against the backboard. Torsos up nice and quick, and most importantly, Torsos wasn't whiffing open nets.
Nah, Torsos was shooting everything. I think he scored every shot he took in game 1.
Yeah, 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
And you had 3 out of 3 game 2. So you've moved from being a 9.1% shot accuracy to almost 30% in one day.
Sweet. I'm all about
Which is
that.
better than your 3.75% at the World Championship.
Yeah, that was a bit unlucky, wasn't it?
And it just continues. This is the end of game 2. You had like 45 seconds in that 0-second mark, and Drupe scoring an absolute banger double touch. Drupe again at the start of this, and I thought that maybe he was going to just run away, but you all had a great last game.
Yeah, no, we were all just feeling really good. I mean, the break is a bit like annoying because you just want to keep playing, but we were still feeling good.
Well, speaking of that break, like what do you do during the break? You just talk with each other, you like trying to hype each other up and get prepared, or you just making dumb jokes like, let's go?
I think we're more just relaxing this time. Yeah, dumb jokes are pretty usual, yeah.
But this is the point that we were talking about before, when Melbourne Avant actually came back. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I did something pretty stupid for the second goal. I don't know.
Oh, no. What was that stupid thing that you did?
They 50'd it into the ceiling, and then Sammy was right under the ball, and I kind of wasn't expecting it, so he just double jumped and beat me.
Well, that's their gameplay, right? Avant, just like, oh, the ball's there, let's go, right?
Yeah. It will sometimes catch off guard.
It was a good 50-50 by Plitz, and really well played, I think, by the Chiefs. You're coming in really hot. You had coming off the strength of these subs as well.
Yeah.
How do you think you're going to go against next week against a real team?
A real team. Order will be.
Can you believe our analysts smack talking the other teams? Anyway, go on.
I need a little bit of an opinion.
Go on.
No, Order are a class above Avant, so we will be like scrimming a lot this week, making sure we're prepared.
I heard that they beat you during scrims this week.
Yeah, we had a bit of an off day yesterday. We were trolling a bit too much, but they played really well yesterday, so I hope they don't keep that up.
I remember you talking about EG at the World Championship, how they were having terrible scrims. You're having terrible scrims now.
We lost one scrim. Calm down, dude. Oh my god.
Well, a very humble captain sitting here at the desk with us. Ladies and gentlemen, go absolutely nuts one more time for Jake, captain of the Sydney Chiefs. Give it up. For every winning team, there is, of course, a losing team. We're going back to Ash. How's Plitz doing, Ash?
Thanks, Luke. Well, look, it was a very, very tough match. You guys have been playing so hard this entire competition. How does it feel to be playing at the Gfinity Elite Series?
Yeah, look, it means a lot to me and my teammates. It's invaluable experience, really, for us, being able to play together. Good experience for the future, and I mean, it's just great playing in front of a crowd and on TV.
Well, you could still have the playoffs. It's still in your sights. Next week, you're up against Sydney Raw. It is the decider match. Do you have any nerves there?
Look, we're pretty happy with how we played today. We just got to do more of the same coming through this week, and it's going to be a pretty easy match, I think. Like Sydney Raw compared to Sydney Chiefs, there's just a massive gap there. So, yeah.
Well, Yummy Cheeseman thinks that you'll probably make it to the playoffs. Have you guys been talking about the playoffs, thinking about it? How have you been preparing for that?
Yeah, so we come into this pretty much thinking that we're going to make playoffs. I mean, it should be easy, but we just got to make sure we do the same thing this week and analyse the replays, and yeah.
All right, well, best of luck for next week. I look forward to seeing how that match turns out.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to you, Luke.
Thanks, Ash. Right now it's time to find out who our Astro MVP is for that match. Dave, there were some great performances today, but there can only be one Astro MVP. Who was it?
All three really deserve a great shout for MVP. But
on Chiefs, I presume you're talking
on Chiefs,
about.
all three of the Chiefs members.
Just to be specific.
They're all really involved, and that's why they're such a good team. But I think coming off the last week, coming off that first game with a record-breaking performance, Torsos gets it once again, 2 weeks in a row. He got 7 goals across 3 games. He had a stellar performance today. And what I really think edged him out above Drupe, above Jake, the only thing was those bumps in game number 2 where he got such smart plays to open up the net. I love those bump plays, and he just takes it out very convincingly.
Really dominating play there. Congratulations, Torsos, our Astro MVP for that match. We hope you're enjoying